got a new show for you. On this channel here, we cover ghosts, aliens, the unusual, the strange. What's worse than all of that? UAPs, aliens. What's a whole lot worse than that? Can you imagine? And what's coming to your house? What's coming to your doorstep, your neighborhood, your community, your city? Let's talk about governments impeding on our rights and freedoms. A new world order, something a whole lot scarier than everything else that I actually cover on this channel. Something I think that's almost more important. And this is gonna be different than my standard content, but I think it deserves your attention.
New York and held senior office in the first Bush administration in Washington.
There may be 1,000 models of how it could work, but essentially you will have, whether it's a banking account or a credit card, and it can be turned off and on. So my incentive system is not you go to work and work hard and you get money. My incentive system can be based on how you behaved in the last 5 minutes, you know, on a 24/7 basis.
CBDCs, as the name suggests, would be issued by central banks like the Federal Reserve in America and the Bank of England, not by high street banks. They would signal the end of cash, and every transaction you make would be transparent and held on a permanent database. Crucially, under a net zero regime, your carbon footprint could be at the heart of the system.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker.
This can be the infrastructure for a carbon credit system. It's totalitarian control, and if people don't become aware of it now, it's going to be too late to backtrack from this. It's a ratchet system where it's very difficult, if not impossible, to backtrack.
The state government is about to launch a new form of digital ID that means you'll never have to hand over your person.
This is New Zealand, boys and girls.
It's purely a
This is the United States. This is also the United Kingdom. The UK, the government has plans to implement a mandatory digital ID system for all working adults.
The state government is about to launch a new form of digital ID that means you'll never have to hand over your personal details to anyone again. It will all be stored in the Service New South Wales app on your phone, which will prove you are who you say you are.
Scanning his licence, passport and Medicare card, in less than 3 minutes, the minister proves he really is Victor Dominello.
This is unquestionably the Holy Grail.
This is your first look at the state's new digital ID.
This is a huge step forward in giving back people control over their data, control over their identity.
Personal credentials will be stored on your device. No IDs need to be handed over. And that means keeping your address and birth date to yourself. If you need to hire a car, rent a property, set up a bank account, check into a hotel, or prove you're over 18 to buy alcohol or attend an event.
But how can it trust you are who you say you are? Well, you'll need to take a selfie, which will be cross-checked against other forms of ID you've submitted, and when there's a match, you're good to go.
The technology will be opt-in and should be available later this year.
What we're seeing today is what I call turnkey totalitarianism. They are putting in place all of these technological mechanisms for control we've never seen before. It's been the ambition of every totalitarian state from the beginning of mankind to control every aspect of behavior, of conduct, of thought, and to obliterate dissent. None of them have been able to do it. They didn't have the technological capacity. Today, the mechanisms are being put in place that will make it so none of us can run and none of us can hide. Within 5 years, we're going to see 415,000 low-orbit satellites Bill Gates says his 65,000 satellites alone will be able to look at every square inch of the planet 24 hours a day. Digital currency that will allow them to punish us from a distance and cut off our food supply. Every right that you have is transformed into a privilege contingent upon your obedience to arbitrary government dictates. It will make you a slave. And what do we do about this? What do? We resist. I'm going to tell you 3 rules you all need to know and memorize. Number 1, every power that government takes from us, it will never relinquish voluntarily. Number 2, every power they take from us, they will ultimately abuse to the maximum extent possible. Number 3, nobody in history of the planet has ever complied their way out of totalitarian control. Every capitulation is a signal to the oppressors to impose new forms of torment or torture or compliance or obedience. Every time you comply, you get weaker. Bullies cannot be appeased. It just encourages them to new forms of torture and torment. Every time you say yes, you're getting pushed back to a weaker position. That's why we need to resist today.
A good score brings benefits, but people with low scores lose rights. The cinema names and shames people considered untrustworthy, plastering their details, even their addresses, across big screens.
It's a matter of principle. Those people have to be condemned.
Those people aren't honest, so they have to pay the price.
It's only right to pay your debts. You have to blacklist those that don't.
The Supreme Court has created a blacklist for so-called bad citizens, those whose ratings have dropped to 0. On it are companies, but also 23 million people to date. Among them is this journalist Liu Hu. He got a little too close to uncovering corruption.
23 million people have been blacklisted
Among high-profile party members. After being sued for defamation by the subject of a story he'd written, he was blacklisted. But he only realized when he tried to buy a train ticket and was told he was banned from traveling.
That tells me I'm still on the blacklist.
Punished because he's been branded untrustworthy by the state.
Once you're blacklisted, you can no longer get a bank loan, start a business, buy an apartment, or even send your children to a private school.
Liu Hu is among a tiny minority of people who have dared to criticize the system, which some are calling a digital dictatorship.
I worry, because I think many people like me will be deprived of individual freedoms.
So I just found out Vietnam just closed 86 million bank accounts because people refuse to get the digital ID. What the entire fuck? Let's not forget the US has digital ID coming too. And earlier today, I just seen information dropping that the UK will also have a digital ID coming. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen in the UK or the US, but it's best to be prepared. But yeah, after this Vietnam situation, now people starting to see why it's so important that you have control over your own bread. This is why you see me going so hard with this crypto shit. Using wallets that you have your own private keys to, like Soulflare, Phantom Wallet, Trust Wallet, things you have control over. Now is it making sense of why I'm going so hard with this crypto shit, bro? I advise y'all to lock in because it's about to be a show.
Great.
Paul Waldy from the Globe and Mail. Keir Starmer's introduced a digital ID card. Wants to make it mandatory as a way of controlling immigration. Is that something Canada might consider?
Well, Paul, one thing I would put in terms of context is the UK is relatively unique in not having other forms of identification. So there's been a long history here not to have ID. in Canadians, we have various forms of ID. We have driver's license, you have social insurance license. Like you have forms of identification. In terms of, so now, are there merits to have?
He's lying. The UK has the national insurance card, driver's license, birth certificate, same as Canada. Kerry, as a former Irish and UK citizen, would know this.
In common digital identification for government services, for you say immigration, also for financial services, portability, other aspects. There may be. We don't have current plans for that.
Thank you.
The UK will be required to have a digital ID.
What's that?
It's an app with your personal information that's required if you want to still work in the UK. It'll have your name, date of birth, residency, even your DNA. This is to prevent illegal immigrants from getting jobs in the UK. But people are worried about being tracked by the government, so they're largely against
this.
Sounds
like one big data breach waiting to happen.
Everybody's personal identifiable information will be in one app. So if a hacker did get access, everybody would be compromised. But the UK Prime Minister says this is mandatory. And without it, you'll be a homeless bum who can't work in this country.
Why can't they just use their driver's license or their national insurance number like they're already using?
The UK Prime Minister said it's too...
They use immigration as an excuse to run their agenda of destroying freedom of expression.
Easy to steal that.
Mass non-compliance.
Digital ID, they know it's you. So illegal immigrants can't get access. And since everybody has a phone nowadays, it will be on their smartphone.
What about people that don't have smartphones?
They said they already have workarounds. People that don't even have phones, they'll have something for them too. Even if you don't have internet access, the government will still be able to find you.
Is this actually about immigration or is this about control? Because this sounds like a big privacy problem.
Yes, but how else will a job know they're not hiring an illegal immigrant?
There's already a solution for that!
The plan, then you'll have a problem if you want to get a new job.
No, I'm saying I'm not doing this. I'm not seeking a job, so why should I get the digital ID card? Why do I do it? Well, is there some fine for not doing it? Is there an incentive to do it? I'm just thinking I've got no reason to do it.
Yeah, look, this isn't a heavy-handed approach. We're not planning to go around finding people. But what we are going to do is make sure that everybody's got one. In the same way, Charlie, as you've got a national insurance number, if you're a citizen of this country, we'll make sure that everybody has a digital ID.
So help me with this. I know we're plotting through this, but yeah. So everyone watching who's got a job has got a national insurance number. So when these digital ID cards exist, if I just go to my employer and show them my national insurance number, is that not sufficient? Are they being precluded from employing me?
It won't be sufficient. I just want to be really clear about that.
So they can't employ people unless they've seen one of these
a digital ID.
Cards.
Yes, that's right. That is the plan. And the major benefit of that to the entirety of the UK is that we will therefore be able to disrupt the illegal market where people come to this country and work illegally and undercut British workers who could otherwise get those
jobs. Well, national
jobs.
insurance number would have the same effect because if you're illegal, you can have one of those.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory.
Mark of the beast. Mark of the beast.
For the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Last week, the UK announced that they are rolling out mandatory digital IDs for all workers and that this has to be done by 2029. And RFK Jr. has something to say about it. Watch this.
Every right that you have is transformed into a privilege contingent upon your obedience to arbitrary government dictates. It will make you a slave. And what do we do about this? What do? We resist.
And right now, people are resisting. In the UK, more than 1.6 million people have signed a petition opposing the plan for digital ID cards. And don't forget that digital IDs is the gateway to digital wallets and CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. All of this is the World Economic Plan for Agenda 2030. So, how do you feel about digital IDs being rolled out in the UK and around the world? Will you comply or will you resist? As always, let me know what you think about all of this down below.
Digital IDs must be accepted by U.S. citizens by 2028 or risk exclusion from society. I think that's what the Bible warns about. You will neither be able to buy or sell without the mark. Digital IDs must be accepted by U.S. citizens by 2028 or risk exclusion from.
I don't remember anyone voting for Bill Gates, so what gives him the right?
To say this to you people at home, these are the last years of freedom. Our children are never going to experience what we experienced. We're going to have electric cars, which will be zone controlled, which will turn off if you go into the wrong zone or turn off on certain days of the week. We're going to have money, which they control completely and absolutely, CBDCs, which they can freeze at any moment or only allow you to spend it on certain things or only allow you to spend it in certain areas. This is the beginning of the absolute end. We're entering complete tyranny and slavery. Nobody seems to give a shit. I don't know how else to say this to you people at home. These are the last years of freedom. Our children are never going to experience what we experienced. We're going to have electric cars, which will be zone controlled, which will turn off if you go into the wrong zone or turn off on certain days of the week. We're going to have money, which they control completely and absolutely, CBDCs, which they can freeze at any moment or only allow you to spend it on certain things or only allow you to spend it in certain areas. This is the beginning of the absolute end. We're entering complete tyranny and slavery. Nobody seems to give a shit.
British man 2 years in prison for Facebook comment. Did you hear me? British man sentenced to 2 years in prison for Facebook comment.
Why you wrote, because they're over here, given life of Riley, to a post questioning why you wrote, because they're over here, given life of Riley, off the tax us hard-working people earn when it could be put to better use. Come over here with no work visa, no trade to their name, and sit down and doss, and then there's more people being put out homeless each year. They get top band priority on housing. You went on to say that you did not want your money going to immigrants who, quote, rape our kids and get priority, end quote. Although you said that you had no intention of carrying out any act of violence, there can be no doubt that you were inciting others to do so. Otherwise, why post the comment? You expressed remorse, but by that time, it was too late. For the offence of publishing written material in order to stir up racial hatred, there are sentencing guidelines which I must and will follow. The maximum sentence is 7 years imprisonment. In my judgment, this comes close to harm category 1. However, for the purposes of this sentence, I will treat you as falling into category 2, since there was no direct encouragement towards activity which threatens or endangers life. However, you fall towards the top of category 2. For a category 2A offence, the starting point is 2 years imprisonment with a range between 1 and 4 years custody. In mitigation, I take into account your plea of guilty, for which you will receive full credit of 1/3, following your earlier admissions. I take account of the contents of the references from your mother, friend and employer. These can only be of limited value in the current circumstances, as can the contents of the pre-sentence report. I take account too of your expression of remorse, your lack of convictions which are racially aggravated. As is recognised on your behalf, this offence is so serious that an immediate custodial sentence is unavoidable. The sentence that I pass has been reduced by 1/3 to reflect your guilty plea. The sentence is one of 20 months imprisonment.
I want you to get and understand the gravity of the situation. The words he is saying speak for themselves. British man sentenced to prison for a social media comment. Do you understand that? The gravity of the situation?
Off the tax us hard-working people earn when it could be put to better use. Come over here with no work visa, no trade to their name, and sit down and doss, and then there's more people being put out homeless each year. They get top band priority on housing. You went on to say that you did not want your money going to immigrants who, quote, rape our kids and get priority, end quote. Although you said that you had no intention of carrying out any act of violence, there can be no doubt that you were inciting others to do so. Otherwise, why post the comment?
The British gave up their guns 30 years ago. Now they can't speak.
Okay, what was it? Sorry, I don't like the camera. You can have my body cam. I can exhibit that to you. I just don't like the camera, really. Okay, well, I'm doing this because this is my own house and I am telling you why I'm doing it. So I just need to know why would she's basically viewed a post which is not an arrestable offence. Viewed an offence, that's good. Okay. It happened in May and you're completely fine. The only thing is that we need to seize the phone at this current moment. The phone needs to get seized from us, otherwise we will escalate this further. So, but with a voluntary interview. So have you seized anyone else? Is she the only child you're picking on? Voluntary interview, you'd be able to come. Have you spoken to anyone else? No, we'll come to the station now. Do you mind letting her finish her sentence before? Yeah. It does have to get further escalation, unfortunately. That's fine. We'll come to the station now. The phone isn't seized right now, and we're not able to basically get the phone. We have to escalate this further, which means your daughter will get arrested. For what? Viewing the social media post? Is that I need to go with that in order to... No, absolutely not. What should we do to prevent destruction of evidence? I'm sorry. Lisa, that's fine. I would like you to leave now. I'd like you to leave. Lisa, this is why you're okay. I have nothing more to say to you. A social media post. I've got nothing more to say. I'd like you to leave. You've harassed this child enough. I'd like you to leave. Lisa, that's no worries. Okay, what was it? Sorry, I don't like the camera.
Interesting, huh?
I will go to prison if it means I won't have a digital ID. I refuse to be tracked and monitored and surveilled. I outright refuse it. This is the tipping point for our country between freedom and mass authoritarianism. If you don't know, digital IDs is where all of your information is going to be centralised on one database, that any future government that either you agree or disagree with is going to have access to your information. The UK, specifically England, is known for something called freedom, autonomy, the ability to not have the state look into our lives all the time. But we're in a position now where that boundary is being crossed. It's not about being left-wing or right-wing. We're talking about inalienable rights. No way does anybody on this tube trust our government or any future government. So why on earth would you trust them to have access to all of your data? I certainly won't. We are meant to be a free country. I'll give you a leaflet, sir. We are meant to be in a position of having liberty. But we don't anymore. We are more surveilled in this country than any other country in Europe. That is outrageous. Thank you, madam, appreciate it. I know this sounds annoying, and I know you probably don't want to listen to me, but lots of people are taking leaflets and they're doing it for a reason. They're taking a leaflet because they know something's wrong. They know something is attacking their freedom and they don't have the answer as to what that is. I knew digital IDs were coming in 2020 when they unlawfully locked us down and they brought in vaccine mandates and they introduced a papers, please society. Winston Churchill abolished national ID cards for good reason. We don't believe in a papers, please culture in this country. We believe in autonomy. We believe in freedom. We believe in the right to privacy. The state is now directly influencing and infiltrating our lives and our privacy, and I, for one, am absolutely sick of it.
Yo, did you just hear what happened in Vietnam? The government just deactivated 86 million bank accounts overnight. Why? Because the people did not submit their biometric data for a digital ID. If you didn't scan your face or give up your fingerprints, your money was immediately frozen and soon to be confiscated. Of course, they say it's about fraud prevention, but this is obviously about control. They want you tagged, scanned, and monitored, and if you don't comply, they cut you off from your money. And don't think that this is too extreme to happen over in the West, because it's already started. The United Kingdom is rolling out digital ID under the guise of immigration reform. Prime Minister Keir Starmer is about to announce that he wants every citizen to have one, for jobs, housing, and even healthcare. They say it's for convenience, but let's be honest, this is going to be your key to participate in society. Because soon, without a digital ID, you simply won't exist in the system. There's currently a petition against it, but the last petition against the Online Safety Act drew hundreds of thousands of signatures and was completely ignored. But you see, there is a way to opt out. Not an ETF or a stock, I'm talking real Bitcoin. Download a wallet, secure your keys, and own your money. Bitcoin doesn't care if you're verified, it doesn't ask for your face, and you do not need permission to use it. And that's the point, because the choice ahead is simple. Scan your face to access your money, or opt in to a parallel system that they cannot touch. So let me know what you think. Are you gonna get a digital ID?
Every single Christian that I know.
Things is getting serious, man. I really need you to share this video. I don't even need to explain it, man. Just watch the post and jump to your own conclusions. If your conclusion is a cliff, I need you to jump right now. But it's just self-explanatory, bro.
Says that they will stand firm. Says that they will not enter into the beast system. But we simply just know that is not the case. That many, that most, will be knocked off the narrow road. That most won't endure to the end. 83 million bank accounts were just frozen in Vietnam. That country only has 86 million people. So basically, they froze every single person's bank account in that country and said, if you want your money, you're gonna have to come in and do biometrics, come in and get digital ID, and then you can have access to your money. Everyone says they will stand firm. But what about when you can't feed your children? What about when they make it so you can't go to work unless you enter into the system? The devil doesn't play by your rules. He wants you to be able to not feed your family. He is going to push every single one of us to our breaking point so that we finally give in. We finally justify to entering the system. And the devil is waiting for that justification. He is waiting for you to say, well, I gotta feed my family. God will understand. This is when Christians have to stand firm. We have to endure to the end. Because we know what's coming.
Thomas Jefferson most famously quoted, "I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery." Jefferson wrote this in a letter to James Madison on January 30th, 1787, during the time of Shays' Rebellion. He was basically making the point that even with the risk and instability that come with liberty, it's still far better than living under a system of comfortable oppression. It's still far better than living under a system of comfortable oppression. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery.
About it, the more we can stand firm. I don't ever think it's too late. Alright. Well, thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button. Share this video. Subscribe. Come back for more, man. I really appreciate your time and, Yahweh, God, please protect us all. Please protect us all. Talk to you in the next one.